Welcome back to the Dice Guys Game Store YouTube channel. I'm Grant.
And I'm Adam. And today we're going to open a Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth pre-release pack. Just sort of walk through how we would go about building a limited deck in a sealed environment, our strategies, some simple rule of thumbs that would apply to any kit, but also sort of our thought process opening this kit that we don't know what we're going to pull yet.
Yeah, let's get it started.
Let's go.
Oh, of course. It's stuck a bit. I like to read the lore, okay? It's not magic lore, but it's lore I care about.
That is true.
So first things first, of course, we get to see here well, that's a good one to open with. We get a removal spell right off the bat.
Nice.
So that we'll keep a hold of. We got our little spin down, of course. Lord of the Rings set symbol on there. And we got our 6 packs. So, get the rest of this aside and I'll start cracking these. Adam,
Yeah, so generally,
what's the plan?
When I open up packs, my organization, I love to build a deck really fast during pre-release events, so then I can just go and talk and hang out while everybody else is building their decks. So I place a lot of emphasis on organization when I first open. So as Grant's doing, this is how I would do it, where I organize everything in color piles right out of the bat. My mythic or my rare pools I will put off to the side, so that way I can keep them sort of front of mind as I'm seeing what other things come out from uncommon, common, and how they'll synergize with my potentially big pools or my junk rares.
Got a Wrath for our second rare out of there. So far for our bombs, we have, of course, our pre-release kit promo, the Isildur's Fateful Strike, which we'll hold on to, and we got a Wrath as well, and then the Simic Elrond. So nothing super incredible just yet, but I mean,
I feel like we're Siamese twins. I'm like the shorter brother over here, or I'm just falling downhill.
Yeah, I know and we get a Dimir card for a rare out of this one.
We're gonna get some Sauron's ransom. So you have a Celestia.
We got Simic so far, and
oh no, that was Simic. Okay.
Yeah, Simic, Dimir, white, black, bunch of assorted red and blue and things. Look like we're a little low on white.
That's
and
a great
black
card right there.
Which the Pathfinder?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Mana Dork, yeah. Could do something Simic.
So yeah, I'll talk about just sort of like some basic rule of thumbs for building.
Nice,
a little golem.
And Shelob too.
Nice.
I know you can't resist a good Golgari deck. For anything.
I don't turn down Golgari very often if there's good stuff. I just like black. That's my problem. So I'll hand out some like general rule of thumbs while Grant's finishing organization and opening, and then I'll kind of shut up when he gets to some big pulls. But in general, 40 card deck is your minimum, right? I very rarely ever would play anything over 40 in a limited environment, unless like I can remember several times. Nice. The coat.
Yes.
That'll go in anything that we build.
Yeah.
I did when I did a lot of limited in Zendikar Rising, and because it was so mill heavy, I would very often, especially if I wasn't playing mill, I would run more than 40 cards because I figured I was going to run up against Rune Crab, and if it worked, I wouldn't just arbitrarily put junk in there. But if it made sense, I would build my deck to be bigger. I also will very commonly, especially in cube drafts, maybe not as often in limited, if I'm going to draw.
We're playing white now.
Yeah, I see that potential.
That's
Dawn of the New Age is what he pulled. I very often, if I have a lot of things that I'm going to draw through my deck, I will run more cards to protect myself from actually decking myself. But in general, 40 cards, you want to have 17 lands. Grant and I both concur that we've never ran a deck that was 40 cards with more than 17 lands. More than 70 lands.
18 is too many.
Yeah. And very often there's some case for going lower than that.
And we got to forge a new to go with our mithril coat.
Nice. Yeah, we're definitely playing white.
Yeah.
And then, somewhere between 12 and 14 creatures, you definitely need to run. That's the biggest problem I see with new limited players is they don't run enough creatures. And these games go long. Limited games go very long, and your board runs out.
Lord of the Rings especially, because we have so much food synergy things.
And then the rest
people
are
start
spells.
gaining a whole ton of life and just stay in the game for a lot longer than it would go otherwise.
So you opened everything?
Yeah, blue's looking a little light.
Hold them up a little bit closer to the camera so we can see.
Yeah, multicolor's looking pretty good.
What do we have white in here with multicolor? Anything?
Just Butterbur. So.
And this is food.
We make a food. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say let's look at white and green right now.
So yeah, white we have of course our good stuff. The Dawn of a New Age, big card draw, a little bit of life gain, super cheap. We have this foil. 3 or greater, make a food token for each creature you control. Pretty good if we do like white weenies kind of thing. Sildur's Fateful Strike, really hard to see through there, but solid removal. The Mithril Coat that's just going in whatever we do, and Forge Anew. I don't know if this one's going to be worth it. We only have the one equipment that I specifically remember seeing, so might be worth leaving out for the time being.
So let's look at green.
Green?
Yeah, just to see if there's a sort of a Celestina.
We got an Invoker or food things. I know I definitely saw many partings here for making food, ramping. That should just be in no matter what we do.
Well, if we play green.
Yeah. Oh, we got two.
I like that we've got 2 of those. I think that's the. What else do we have? I feel like this might be where we lean. I mean, let's look at every color because I think you should always look at every color and consider what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't jump to conclusions like I am.
Got some removal stuff and just some other elf synergies.
So I think you wanted to look at black because we know we're going to play white.
Yeah.
It's a given.
I'm feeling Abzan at the moment. Blue didn't really impress me, and neither did red out of what we got, but I kind of want to play Grand. I just love the meme. But probably not going to be worth it. The other thing with limited that you have to keep in mind is you have to end up playing what ends up being best. It's not like Commander where you can just kind of throw in cards because they're cool and you like what they do. This requires you to have an army and using the amass mechanic. If we don't end up with any of that in Abzan or whatever colors we end up going for, can't run Grand. So got our Troll, Amass, give protection. Oh, draw a card, make food, so that could be good. Mini Wrath, Golem of course, more Amass, big Menace creature. That may be a solid top end actually, 4/4 with Menace.
Mm-hmm.
Haunt of the Dead Marshes, some amassing stuff, another Haunt. Sacrifice a creature only, no sacrifice of food, and make food again. So yeah.
And then where that was all your rares?
There's a few multicolors. We got Shelob,
yeah,
Sauron's Ransom, and Elrond as well.
So 2 Dimir and Simic, is that what that was? Simic, Dimir, and what?
Golgari.
Golgari, yeah. Okay, I at this point I would you have 50 minutes, right, to build this deck. So
Yeah.
you could sit there and look at those blue and red. You just thumb through them real quick so everybody can see. I wouldn't look at them because at this point I would come to the conclusion that I'm going to run Selesnya or I'm going to run Golgari
Yeah.
based on what I've seen.
I think we might be able to make Abzan work. We have enough mana dorks in green. We have many partings to
I agree.
fix there.
I think, one thing to consider that I would plan on closing with like some common mistakes that I see in limited play, and one of them is playing too many colors. Definitely don't play 4 or 5 colored piles in a 40 card deck. You're just going to get mana screwed. It's inevitable. I've seen 3 color work, right? And Grant's point that we have a couple mana dorks that make anything is good. But I still would try to figure out if we could build 2 colored decks that are powerful.
Yeah.
Right? If we see a really strong reason. And I do think if we're comparing the multicolored cards, the Golgari card versus the Selesnya card is much better, right?
Yeah, and especially pulling Shelob as well.
That's what I meant.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have.
Yeah, but even comparing the uncommons to each other, but yeah, the multicolored pulls definitely tell you let's play Golgari. But I do think there's some really awesome white stuff, right? So we have to evaluate what our loss is there.
Yeah. Do we want to just go for a 2 color then?
I probably would. I do see the point, but let's thumb through white real quick because I haven't seen you go through the white stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see.
We got a few legends.
Because I kind of got on this mindset that we would just run white no matter what. But then now I'm kind of.
There's a lot of ring tempting. We got 2 protections. Aowen, of course, with equipment, but we only got the 1 equipment. You can sack a food to tap things with our Hobbit. Removal spell is an enchantment. Destroy goblins and orcs. This would, if we end up in white, this is probably a good one to keep at the top of our pile. Something cheap and easy to slot in, because it's a best of 3 format. Mm-hmm. If we end up against someone playing Dimir Amass or Rakdos orcs and goblins, can easily throw this guy in. If we end up in white, of course.
Yeah, exile.
Big removal. Tempts you. Oh, this one's really cool. A nice invoker to tap stuff down. It starts at 5 but ends at 3 if we control a legendary creature. Oh no, it buffs creatures we control. That's what it is. Ring tempts you, card draw stuff. Probably not gonna run that one. I'm definitely feeling black and green.
Yeah, me too.
And
so I think let's build black and green, and we'll just have to say we're sad about not running Dawn of the New Age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another point I want to make is like, I'm so guilty of this too, and I've seen so many other people do this where you pull this amazing bomb and you're like, I am playing Atraxa, Grand Unifier. I am playing Omnath, but you end up ignoring like a very finely tuned deck that you could have played. Yeah. Because you're so excited about your bomb.
We got a lot of good stuff in here.
Green's amazing. Yeah. It's a lot better than I was paying attention to at the time because I got distracted by the white when we were opening the packs.
Every scry, not terribly synergistic, but I'll keep it in mind. I just got a pile of good green things I like. We have a lot of ETB stuff actually, so we can make good use of these slip on the rings. Don't really have any equipments there. We do need this mithril coat, of course. Wait, why am I looking through the white cards?
I think I distracted you again.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, there's another card behind your.
Oh.
You can't show that, but that was behind the pre-release.
Oh, there's 2
cards.
I didn't even know there were supposed to be 2 in here.
Yeah, they did that. Remember they did that in March and they had the team up.
Oh yeah. Well, here's yet more mana fixing. If we do want to try 3 colors, we'll keep it with 2 for now. Oh, definitely gotta have Fateful Strike in there. Golem's Bite. We're not really doing much with the Ring Tempts You, but it might be a worth it removal spell. We'll have to see. Not really doing a mass, which means Grand is out as well. Big Dumb Troll fantastic.
100%.
Yeah. Indestructible or lifelink is probably worth it as a protection. Not doing too much with food. Not doing much with sacrifice.
I like that card.
Yeah, I think the warg is probably good to have in.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a few scry synergies in there. So probably want these haunts just as a low end as well. And then...
You don't think we want Nasty End in there? Let me read that. Is that sack a creature, right?
Yeah, and if it's legendary, draw 3. It's probably worth putting in. And then the rest of this stuff.
How many legendaries do we have currently? Do we have access to?
Creatures?
Yeah, creatures. I'm not sure other than those.
Creatures 1.
Yeah.
So Nasty End.
So that'll come out, and because we don't have any. I mean, we've got a couple things in there that are a mass, but other than that, we don't really have any token generation for creatures, right?
Yeah, I think Glorfindel's probably worth it. We have 4 cards that scry now. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 19.
Yeah, which we need 23, right? Because we've got 17 lands.
Yeah, so we're just shy.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you've got the code in there.
Yeah, that's what code's in there.
What's in that bar pile over there? Lands?
This one?
No, underneath them.
Yeah, this is lands and tokens and things.
Yeah, and then
multicolor.
So that was the code was our only colorless thing.
Yeah. Aside from, we have a few mana fixing things in
let me see here.
the artifacts. Because what I feel like I'm interested in.
I mean, this is a cantrip, and I mean you sack it and you draw a card.
Yeah. I think because these are scry synergies. The Galadrim guides are scry synergies.
Let me look at your other green and black pile while you're doing that.
Oh yeah. We got our Wizard's Rockets there. That's a scry synergy. And that we just want in. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Shelob is really good, but we only pulled the 1 spider.
I think it's good in itself. It only costs 6.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's an amazing card and limited for just the size of the creature. I understand the synergy is not as. You want to explain that, Grant? Just a little bit more
so Shelob, of course, here has. She's in this pile, at the bottom. She has. She's a Lord effect for spiders, and gives you food for your opponent's creatures, as well as just being an 8/8 for 6 with Ward 2. So she is our top end. She's where we're trying to get. And everything in this deck should be to get us Shelob. So to that end, our big Wizard's Rockets giving us mana and card draw stuff, and all of our scry effects here on these elves with Glorfindel are just going to help us go through our deck to get to Shelob faster.
I say we just sort of amass for our other cards. I think
do some amass things.
Yeah, I think these cards are good in their own right.
Amass
like
1,
this.
amass 2,
and you have a flyer, you have a duress, you have. I just think you have some mechanics that are useful. Plus, you're getting some beef on the board.
The rest and that'll give us better fodder for our Rise of the Witch King to let us return a permanent from the graveyard to the battlefield. So if Shelob does die, we just sack an orc for 4 mana, get her back.
So check and see without the Wizard's Rockets in there. Are we at 22 cards?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Okay. So then I would just throw one of those Wizards rockets in there
And
and call it a day.
we're going to do the fancy one.
And then,
I want to use it.
so let's talk about, so we talked about strategy, what our strategy is, and now let's talk about curve, and let's lay them out, how you would organize
So
for your mana.
first I do by mana value. And I think...
And
our
so what
curve
we're
is-
talking about is, you know, that we have like an equal distribution of 1 CMC, 2 CMC, 3 CMC. We see if there's anything that's super heavy. We've got a bunch of low casting cost stuff, nothing in between that and huge stuff. You just want to see that like your statistical probability is that you're going to be able to continually play cards every turn, right? That is the ideal gameplay. Is like turn 1, I drop a land, I drop a 1 drop or a 0 drop. Turn 2, I do a 2 drop. Turn 3 and so on, right? So you just want to, you don't want to have it look like, you know, all these cards are right here and there's this big gap in the middle.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not liking how many 4s we have at
Yeah,
the
it's a
moment.
lot of 4.
But we do have some ramp cards at 2, and we have our mini partings to get us a land as well. Plus, we just have some scry effects.
Right. So everything in 1 and 2 is 5, right? And there's a 4. I don't know. I don't think this is the worst as it is. And I think unfortunately we're a little limited. And that is one thing that is beneficial of running 3 colors, is it gives you a lot more movement in, you know, your slots. And at this point we could go like, well, I don't like this, and you have a whole pool of cards to choose from. In this situation, I don't feel like we have a lot of cards to choose from. They're over here in the trash pile. You know, I feel like they literally belong in the trash.
Yeah.
You know,
We do have the troll as well as a swamp cycling. So
Right.
we can use that as mana fixing as well. And then get it back with Rise of the Witch King. So
I think the only thing that could be said is if there's some reason why we should throw another Wizard Rocket in here, and then take something out to manage the
I
curve.
feel
But I
like
just don't see that.
we can probably take out one of the Galadrim guides, because we do have 2 of them. There are a scry too.
But it also, you know, I think it's important, especially in limited, to really know what your next few cards are going to be. I mean, it's pretty valuable.
Yeah.
And you get a 3/4 drop, you know, 3/4 creature out of it. With a little bit of turn planning, I don't know. I'm inclined to just leave it the way it goes. I know it feels like we should be teaching something more than that.
Yeah.
And teach you how to actually change something out. But
I think it'll work. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it's
it'll work.
really good. I mean,
Now, the next part that I always do.
I think the other thing would be is like, let's say hypothetically, if we really wanted to like obsess about the curve, I would throw an int in there and take something out, you know, take the scry out. I'm not saying we should, but I'm just saying that would be a strategy, because
Yeah.
from 5 to 6 CMC, we only have 2 cards. So
I don't think we have nothing at 5. So we go
no,
straight
I
from
know.
4 to 6,
I'm lumping
so.
them both in, right? So
Yeah.
instead of, we just now used up all the time. We have 0 and 5. We have 2 and 6. It's fine, Grant.
It'll work out.
But I think that's my only point, is that I feel like, you know, we do have a slot for a more heavy hitter card that we could get more value out of it than a 4-drop. So now you're looking at color balance, right? So we can plan on how many lands of each type we're putting in.
We got our colorless at the top, and I'll shift these.
And I think
Should be all vaguely in frame there. So yeah, the next important step is to count just colored pips, because we need to figure out how many of each basic land we want to be running. For green, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we're actually even
completely balanced.
on both. Plus we have some mana fixing and a colorless up there, which don't matter for it as much. We did also open just this one colorless card that gives us mana for legendary spells.
But we only have 2, right?
We only have 3 legendaries, and one of them's an artifact anyway. So I don't think this is worth running over just a basic land. The only thing I can think of is we have 2 black pips in Isildur's Fateful Strike that we don't have double green anywhere. So for our 17 lands, I think we should go higher on
One
swamps,
higher on the block.
just to be on the safe side.
Because you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to go one up on one of them.
Yeah.
So
So
I think
do that
that's
for
the logic
black.
for that. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I do think, the more that I thought about it, I would, it's not really necessary for this, but I would put this end in there and take out one of the scry 4
Yeah,
drops.
that makes
Because
sense
I
to me.
just think that it's a much more powerful creature. And granted, like, it has force cycling, so you can get rid of it early on in the game if you get it so early. But I find you can really stall out in the late game if you don't have
Yeah.
big hitters.
So the last thing, so with this count 12 and 12, we need 17 lands. So I would do 9 swamps and 8 forests.
I agree with that, yep.
We only had the one other fancy land. If we got something cool like, I don't know, the Tower of Barad-dûr,
And that's it.
Probably
And then you
run it.
just we built a deck, and now you
Yeah.
go smash face.
yeah.
I think
Don't forget to shuffle.
yes, shuffle your deck.
Do you want me to bridge shuffle our Shelob, our Silder Strike?
No, please.
Oh.
And I also will say, whether you do it with somebody that's like hanging out at the play space or the LGS that you're at. I typically don't do this with other players because I don't want players to know what my game plan is. But I play my deck a little bit, and that's part of the reason why I try to get done early, because I'll go up to the front and be like, Grant, look at this.
And he always asks me to double check his homework.
Yeah, and
see if it works.
It's not cheating. I'm not asking him to do my homework. I'm asking him to just double check it. And I need to play the deck a little bit. I want to see if it plays out the way that I expect
just
it to.
goldfish it against your
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it against myself if I don't. But it's ideal to have some other player play. But I wouldn't advise doing that with a player that you're about to potentially be matched with. Common mistakes that I see a lot of players make early on in limited is they play with, I mentioned this already, they play with too many colors.
I really want to put white in here, but I shouldn't, and I know
They
that.
play with too many colors.
Yeah.
You'll end up getting mana screwed.
Another important thing is just not having a game plan. We have Shelob, so our game plan is Big Spider. And just about everything
Big
in
Spider,
here.
smash face.
Play the Big Spider, put the Mithril coat on it, make it indestructible. I hope you win.
Game win. So we're really advanced here in our strategies. I promise sometimes we're better Magic players than this.
Hey, the best removal's player removal. This is just a fact.
Touche.
So
But yes, I think I agree.
we got some protection.
I think
We got a bunch of creatures. We have a little bit of removal. We have a bit of synergy between our stuff. Got some enchantments and such. And we have ways to get up to the Big Spider and draw through to the Big Spider. So
Right.
I feel pretty solid about this deck. I would play this.
I agree. I think to add to your point, like what ends up happening sometimes is that you get the dawn of New Age, and you don't have like a game plan around it. You don't have cards that synergize with it. You get obsessed with like, I'm gonna play Omnath Locus of Creation, and then you realize like you've got one Evolving Wilds in the entire deck. So you're gonna pop off not even fully, right?
Not even
With Omnath.
Like chances are you're playing it before you play Omnath just to get the basic
exactly.
to play Omnath in the first place.
I think that's a big thing is just make sure that you have a plan that like these cards are gonna kind of go together with a win condition and not just like I'm obsessed with this one wild card that I got, but I don't really have any other cards that make any sense to make it useful. It's a good diversion tactic. Like I put Omnath in a few decks in ZR because I just wanted people to use their removal on it.
Yeah.
And they did. And if I ever put it out, but it was like a bait and switch kind of.
To keep it in Lord of the Rings too, you open Sauron and Grixis, and your best cards are, I don't know, Azorius. Don't force it to play Grixis if it doesn't work. The other thing too, just always play to your strengths. Adam plays a lot of Golgari all the time. He knows how to play this deck. Even if you draft stuff like I'm a white player, I would love to put Dawn of a New Age and make this some Abzan pile, but I also know I don't I don't know how to play Abzan. I don't play Golgari. If the two of us were piloting it together, it might work, but
Yeah, I think keep in mind what you're used to playing, and don't get like too swayed to play something that is real out of your comfort zone that you never play
just because
you got some good bombs. If you don't play something bad, like certainly take the risk and learn how to play Azorius Control.
Don't do that.
If everything else sucks.
No one likes an Azorius player.
But don't, there's you can get lost in like the power level of cards, like, oh, this is better, but the power level of a card becomes quickly irrelevant if you're not a good pilot. I think probably the other common mistake, the sort of last thing that I see, is like not enough of anything, but like not enough creatures. Like these games, limited games, are much longer because the cards aren't synergized to really prime level work with each other. So you're not going to fire off and have this like crazy aggressive deck that's going to turn 5 kill the other opponent. So you really need to make sure you have enough breadth to get out a wide board and keep constantly putting something on your board. And a spell is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Unless it creates a creature. I don't have anything else. I think that's it. I think we just go play this weekend and have fun with this amazing set.
Do you want to... I might get a pre-release kit and make something out of it if you want to play a game this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can play this one. I helped you make it.
Thank you.
So I have a bit of an advantage.
A little bit. But thanks for checking this out. I hope this is helpful for you guys. Have a good pre-release.
Yeah. And enjoy Lord of the Rings. It's fantastic.
Good luck on your 1 of 1 robe.
Oh, yes. Cool. Good luck. Get the 1 ring.